Welcome to another edition of After the Whistle, Wednesday, July 21st, and July just came and went, just like that.
You know, every day's a long day for me, so.
It just flew by real quick. It was just like, whoop, in and out, and like, geez Louise, summer's almost over.
Yeah, this past couple of years has been a little different, though, because of COVID, you know, and restrictions haven't fully been lifted with everything, so.
Shoot, they might start doing restrictions again, the way people be acting.
Some people just have a hard time with personal space, man. I swear, if we all live with the COVID 6 feet rule, we'd be in a better place.
Personal space and hygiene. The two simplest things you would think people would try to do, but yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, certain cultures, religions, they tell you not to do certain things, but in the world of hygiene, doesn't care what you believe in, just wash your simple as that.
Yeah. Wash it behind, brush your teeth. Those two things to keep you healthy. We got a lot to talk about, a lot going on here. The NBA season came to an end yesterday, and this was 6 crazy games of basketball, and yesterday was the redemption for Giannis, despite what happened last year. This was kind of like his redemption. And this is all Kevin Durant's fault because he got big feet.
Yeah, everybody talked about the injuries, play I'm just saying play a role in just like certain teams making it to the finals and certain teams not having to play certain plays and things like that. But you play who's out there.
Yeah.
And this finals just looked like the Suns just ran out of gas. It just looked like they just fell apart, just physically. Booker, I know he's complained a couple summers ago about playing against double teams and stuff, but he might need to do that this summer.
He's on his way to Tokyo right now.
Yeah, but, you know, that was one of the issues. He couldn't get around the pressure.
Yeah, it was the games 4 and 5. Phoenix had a chance to get those games, and it was just the story of those 2 games was turnovers. They turned the ball over down the stretch while the Bucks were executing on offense. The biggest one was Game 5. They had it. They knew what Booker was doing. They were waiting for him, and then he loses the ball.
And
that was a dumb foul. Not to cut you off. That was a dumb foul by Chris Paul because he scores. You're only down 3. Now he goes to the free throw line, and you guys have been having issues rebounding too. So
and the personnel they put on Booker, the length. Size. Portis is a very agile big who's really like a 3, but he's like 6'10" or something like that.
Yeah.
But he plays the 4. You know, he was great on Booker, and then the switching guys out, putting fresh guys on Booker, double teaming, getting the ball out of his hands, making Chris Paul. Making it difficult for him as well because Chris Paul is being Chris Paul. People are on him by having a bad game, but you're allowed to have bad games in life. That's just life. You know, every day isn't a good day.
Yeah.
But you could see that. The Suns team have never been there.
Yeah.
You can just see from Chris Paul to Booker to everybody that they down the stretch, they just didn't understand how to make simple winning plays.
I think it was at some point in the fourth quarter of this game. I'm just watching the Bucks on the offensive end. Every time they're on the offense, they're running their stuff, getting the ball to Giannis. Yeah. He's doing whatever he wants. And he's getting people involved as well. And the Suns, on the other hand, it was just... To be honest, it looked like pickup basketball out there. Their offense, there wasn't really nothing going on. It was just Chris Paul and Book dribbling until they get a shot, and sometimes they dribble it into a double team. Or I don't know how many times Booker got peeled this game, but he got peeled so many times this series, especially the last couple games.
Yeah, and it was definitely very physical. So that's one thing I would say about teams that already been to the finals before. They know the physicality and what it takes to win. Even if they lose in the finals, when they go back, they know what it takes.
Yeah.
The Suns and the Bucks, but the Bucks are just naturally a physical team. They've been one of the better teams all season, actually for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And they were expected to go to the finals a couple of years ago. The Suns... Nobody expected the Suns to make it this far. Even though they were a great team, they didn't believe that they'd make it, and I'm glad they made it. But when I was saying about the injuries, I was just saying that, like, people, you know how people big on Giannis getting the chip and putting that, I want to say, that pressure on his back, and I'm glad he won it because some people would have said this was his opportunity to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, I better not hear anybody compare Giannis's run to Dirk's. Because, Dirk was just destroying people out there.
Yeah. This whole run, Someone said on Twitter, this whole run happened because Kevin Durant got big feet. Legit. Sometimes these things work in your favor.
Yeah, exactly.
And kudos to the Bucks because they seized it. And also, Game 6, 50, 14, 5 blocks. I have never seen a 50-point, 14 rebound game in a closeout game ever in all my years watching basketball. And it was just like, at this point, it's like he's the king of the mountain now. The way these are the type of performance you expect from a 2-time MVP, from a guy who's pretty much been improving every year. Every single year he's been improving. This is what like cements like his basketball legacy, because his resume right now looks crazy, and you compare it to other players. He's like, this dude is like, if you want to say he's top 25 all time, like. He got the resume to prove it.
I'm gonna have to look at the paperwork for top 25 all time. I think he still has a long way to go. Thank God he was making free throws, because if he didn't make 17, they lose this game.
Yeah.
Thank God for Holiday, because like I said, Drew was the piece they needed. You know what I mean? Him going 11, 12, and 9, he almost had a triple-double. So, Ayton, I don't know what happened to him.
I don't know either.
I don't mind him having 12, but him only having 6 assists, though, we needed him to have a double-double. Well, not me personally, but they needed him to have a double-double in order for him to continue and make it a Game 7.
Yeah, so you talking about the free throws. So here's his free throws after he didn't do too well. He didn't do too well the first couple games, but...
What you mean, all playoffs?
No, I'm talking about against the Suns.
Oh, okay.
His free throws, 7 for 12. He had that 11 for 18, but 13 for 17, 17 for 19, 4 for 8. Like, he was making them when he started making them. And then at one point, I think he had a stretch where he made like 8 or 9 in a row in this one. So I think he finally got comfortable. I think maybe that counting helped too.
He was home. He played, that Game 6 at home helps. So they didn't have to count because, they just supported him. They don't even say anything. I don't think it was at the free throw line for the most
even
part.
on the road, he was making them. I was like, okay, this dude is he's really stepping up to the plate, and you could just tell that he wanted to win this. Just how hard he was playing. Like, you said it best. Like, he plays like he takes no for. He doesn't like no. Yeah. He doesn't like to hear the word no.
And to be honest, when I was looking at the matchup with this team, Ayton's a big body. He's gonna be a good big in the future. He's gonna be a great big, I think. But Giannis is just like the biggest guy out there.
Yeah.
So
Ayton's not that agile.
So why wouldn't he? I think he should have had 40s. And 50s. If you make all them layups all game and dunks, and then a couple free throws, that's what Giannis' game is about. Like, he made a couple jumpers, and a couple threes, but he still has to improve. He still has to improve a lot, though.
Yeah, I just don't understand Phoenix's strategy. They were they weren't keeping him out the paint. They weren't building the wall around him. They weren't doing nothing. He just kept getting the ball at the top of the key, and they spread it. They spread the floor out, and he's straight down beeline to the basket.
One thing I will say though, I don't like saying superstar calls, but when a man can just run full speed at you and flail his body, and after you bump him and get a foul every time, what can you can't really do anything. So, and similar things will happen to the Suns, and they were just swallowing the whistle. So I guess you just gotta just act a little more, or just be a little more out of control. Because that's how I take it sometimes, when he just barrels down the paint and then bumps and then flails his body and they give him a foul, and it's like, bro, he wasn't even gonna shoot the ball whatsoever.
Oh yeah, yesterday there were some horrible calls. There were some horrible calls. Booker was damn near elbowing Portis on one possession, and they call a foul on Portis, and then he ends up getting a technical for running the other way.
I'll be honest, that was a foul on Portis. He had his arms all over him. You're allowed to remove like this. We do these workouts, so you're allowed to do certain things, and that's what certain fans don't understand. Certain rules of the game.
They just weren't calling it both ways. That's the issue.
Yeah,
but Portis also, he had himself quite the game coming off the bench. He was the only guy that came off the bench and scored. They played 3 guys off the bench, but he came out there, 16 points, knocked down a few jumpers. Turned out that was one of the big differences in this game. Granted, the Suns bench gave him a little spark, but their other starters didn't really give him much, because 7 points out of Bridges. He only took 1 3-pointer. Ayton, the 12 points, but he's on 12 shots, and he missed a whole lot of. The Suns missed a lot of layups.
Oh yeah,
they missed a lot of layups.
But Portis' contribution from the bench was way more effective than the Suns bench. He scored 3 less points than the Suns did, and 4 less rebounds and 3 plays from the Suns. So Portis was was doing his thing out there.
And you're not gonna win much games if you are getting out rebounded by what is this plus 15?
I thought it was 16.
Yeah, 16, 53 to 17. 53 to 37. And this has been an issue for pretty much the last couple games, the last 3 games, and it was just like the Bucks. I didn't think the Bucks made any adjustment. It was just like the only adjustment they made is like, all right, Drew, you're gonna pick up Chris Paul full court. We're gonna get the ball Giannis at the top of the key, and he's gonna be the playmaker. That's literally all they did, and
they understood who they had to put the ball, whose hands they had to put the ball into. Because a couple of series ago, Chris Middleton was Superman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And now Giannis out here being Batman.
Yeah.
So it's just like, however. Whoever favors in the matchup, that's what they're going to go with. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, so this is their first title since 1971. Lord have mercy.
Congratulations to them, though.
That is a long drought. That's a long drought, but yeah, that's 1971. Jeez Louise. That was Kareem and triple-double.
Oscar Robertson.
Yeah. That was the last time. Congratulations to them, and this is the first time we actually have a new face for the league as champions. So it's been like the same teams the past 20 years. It's been like the same 4 or 5 teams probably the past 20 years that's been winning. So this is also good for the league that this happened. So congrats to the Bucks. All right, Olympics, Team USA. There's some interesting stuff going on here. Okay, Bradley Beal, he's not going to be in it no more. Health and safety protocols, and he dropped out. Jeremy Grant, health and safety protocols. Zach LaVine is returning from health and safety protocols. And there's so much happening in Japan. There's like people in Japan don't even want the Olympics to happen. I have concerns about all these athletes going over there to have this Olympics. And at this point, it's just like, I understand the Olympics is like a money grab too for like the International Olympics Committee or whatever. But we're not even certain if these athletes are going to come out there healthy. Like, the way they're bringing them over there and the way that all these cases are rising, like...
People are so gung-ho about the vaccine and all that, but you're not even allowing enough people to get vaccinated if you want them to in order to make this a productive thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like things are going to be shut down because there's so many people in confined spaces. And, like, you don't really know how to really do something like this with something as serious as COVID still in the air. It just doesn't make sense to me. If I was USA, I would just pull out completely, especially when we hear about the disrespect about certain rights and certain opinions, you know what I mean, of people from our country.
Yeah, there's already been some few players in other sports that won't be, that pulled out of the Olympics for reasons that, you know, there was... I think there was like a U.S. volleyball. There was a volleyball team that they couldn't wear. They wanted to wear certain shorts, but they weren't going to be allowed to wear it because I don't know. It was like the ones they want to wear, they didn't want to wear it because it was a little too revealing. So they wanted to wear longer shorts, like a little bit longer, and they won't allow them to wear that. So
that's like sexist.
Yeah, very, very much so. That's one issue. You know. There's always the U.S. gymnastic issues. You know, we know that. And then just overall, Tokyo is. I don't think the people in Tokyo are prepared for this. And what I'm reading, like, the people in Tokyo don't want this to happen over there because it's taken so much from them, and they're building so many new things around there just for this to happen.
I'll be honest. I don't think anybody's prepared to have the Olympics anywhere right now. I thought when you have a global pandemic, certain things just don't happen for a couple years until you figure out how to properly do it. That's just common sense. That's what I thought. But I learned that it doesn't matter. It's all about how much money's involved with everything in regards to anything.
Yeah, it's it's like when we've been trying to get back into some normalcy, that everything is being rushed now. You know, a lot of people had issues with the NBA season, like being rushed back and stuff, and all the college sports and stuff. But for stuff like this, at least with the NBA, they had some type of thing with the health and safety, trying to keep their players healthy, keep the players healthy. With this, it's, you never know. Like, we could have the first day of the Olympics and we could hear news that like 20 or 30 players are in health and safety protocols. So it's then
That's
just
my whole
like,
point.
yeah. So it's then like, why are they there? By the time they get out of it, their particular competition will be over. So
I mean, in life, you see what happens when you rush anything.
Yeah.
You can't rush baking a cake. It doesn't come out the way you want it. You can't rush building a city. It's not even possible.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You seen the big dig growing up. You can't rush that because you see they messed that up and they had to redo some things. So like you just can't rush anything. Like everything's broken down to a science, and you have to understand the science behind it before you proceed to make things happen.
yeah. So let's see what happens. But Olympic team players are going over there, flying out there now. The Olympics is supposed to start in a couple of weeks, but yeah, we'll see. We shall see, because this just has disaster written all over it, in my opinion. All right, let's get into some NFL news. We haven't talked NFL in a while, but a few news coming out the NFL training camp. Training camp is starting soon. I believe next week, full-on training camps will begin. The rookies are going in this week. The Packers, interesting story. They had offered Aaron Rodgers a 2-year contract extension, and he declined it. And if you're going to decline a 2-year extension, that means that you're pretty much done with them. I believe this was offered like in the season or something like that. And for him to, it would have made him one of the highest paid quarterback in the league. And for him to decline that, it was just like, man, I really don't want to be here no more. Because people don't be turning down money if they want to stay somewhere.
Yeah, but I already thought he established to the world that he doesn't want to be a Packer. He's over here playing guitars at people's receptions and stuff, and he's out here traveling, doing his thing, playing golf tournaments. He ain't worried about the Green Bay Packers. He's worried about the Patriots. Wink, wink.
I guess the Packers, for them to offer him that contract this offseason, they must feel like Jordan Love needs a couple more years to sit down and watch, because they would not have offered that contract if they really thought that Jordan Love could do some good things on the field if he gets on. But it's like, okay.
I think the Packers realize that they don't really create quarterbacks. The quarterbacks coming to the league kind of already created. And, Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers before you got to Green Bay. He went to Cal, right?
Yeah, Cal.
He was out there killing at Cal. Like, it's one of them things, like, your quarterback is your franchise guy. He puts, people in the seats. So it's an asset in the seats. So I don't think the Packer helmet puts really anybody in the seats. The players out there. So they got to realize that.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't got a quarterback, then you screwed looking for one. They got all their chips in on Jordan Love right now, and let's hope it pans out for him. But for right now, with training camp about to start, and he's pretty much not going to show up, they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do, because it's either they just sit back and he sits back and watches them lose, or they try to get some type of deal to get him out of there and get something, because at some point you're just going to be like, all right, he's clearly not going to show up, so rather than being held hostage, because you still got to pay him.
These organizations are going to realize they're big, but they're not bigger than the player, and the player's not bigger than the organization. They work as one, hand in hand.
Yeah, this might be another Carson Palmer situation where he just said, all right, I'm not going to show up until y'all trade me, or I'm not going to play for y'all no more, so y'all got to trade me. And yeah, this is where we're heading. And there's some teams out there that should be making some phone calls for him, like Eagles should make some phone calls to him, and a couple other teams.
I just don't understand why they're making this so high. Like, the man's been loyal to you guys for over 10 years at least?
More than that.
Yeah,
since 2004, I believe.
At least 10 years, 16 years, whatever years you're doing. Just let the man go.
Yeah. If it could all be so simple, but you know how NFL goes.
Yeah.
It's just a hot mess. That's probably going to continue. That's probably going to be the top story in this entire season until he gets moved or something happens or they come to some type of an agreement.
Petty and pitiful.
Yeah. This is a sad news for the Rams. You see this? Their running back Cam Akers tore his Achilles during off-season workouts. I believe it was on Monday. This comes a blow because he was a key to their offense last year. That just sucks. Even before training camp, like during workouts, you tear your Achilles, and Every time I hear about Achilles tear, I'm just like, ugh.
Bro, you see me, I don't have much to say on it because I just, ugh. I get nervous when mine gets sore. So
Yeah, right.
let alone, I don't wish anybody.
And it
wish
takes
anyone.
so long to fully get back to somewhat of what you were, because you'll never be back to normal again. But to get back to at least somewhere where you were,
Bro,
it's like a long
road.
road.
Do you know? I can't even talk today. Do you know what they say? What happens when you tear your Achilles? Like when you rip it, it like flaps up and it rolls up the back of your leg.
Listen, I saw
the tendon
Kobe.
the tendon is a long tendon.
I
that
saw
stretches.
Kobe I saw him when Kobe tore this.
Yeah,
That was the nastiest sight I saw. And,
But he was a G about it. He made free throws and all.
yeah, I would have been crying like a little girl. They would have had to carry me off the field and stuff. But yeah, this is a tough break for him. But now it leaves room for other guys to stop. And there's so much expectation for the Rams this season because they got Matthew Stafford and they think he'll somewhat help them.
If he could be solid, man. I don't see Stafford being a bad pickup. We already talked about this before. Like he's been solid with a weak team. For his career, that's the past couple years, career. So let alone, let's see what he got.
Yeah, well, let's see. So this is a blow to their offense and to their running game, but I think they got some other guys that will be able to step up. And luckily for Cam, he's only 22, so maybe he'll make a full recovery and come back stronger than ever next year. But whoo, man, that is tough. That is just tough. All right. Quickly on some baseball news. So did you see this on Saturday? Yankees, Red Sox. So I was out. I was out in these streets. So I'm at the bar watching, and I just seen Verdugo. He's just yelling in the stands. Like you could see him cursing, and I'm just like, yo, what in the world they do to him? And then come to find out, a fan threw the ball at him. They threw the ball back on the field, and it hit him. And I was like, okay, understandable. I can see why he wanted to go in the stands and told that fan he'll F him up because he was tight. But I mean, these fans out here, just imagine if this happened at Fenway Park. All week, it'd be headlines all week about racist Red Sox fans.
My homegirl D told me about that, and I was like, hey. Was it Fenway in New York? She was like, New York. I said, well, it makes us look a lot better.
Yeah.
Just because, like, Fenway's known for having ridiculous stuff happen during these series, especially Red Sox and Yankees.
Yeah.
But remember what I talked about a year ago, about fan etiquette. Yeah. Certain things just have to be applied, and I'm glad that guy is banned for life from all stadiums. Because who are you to... Like, that's for one, that's $1 million merchandise you messing with over there.
Right.
Like, what happens if you hit him in the eye or something, mess up his socket and all this going on, and you can't see. Like, it's just unnecessary nonsense, and treat these people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah,
with respect.
And most of the time, and baseball, fans go to baseball. Baseball fans, they go there, they get to drink and drink a little bit too much. And when you drink a little too much, you do dumb stuff. Sometimes people do it sober too, but with this one, my thing is just like, do fans not see like things that's happened over like the course of the month in other sports, like fans doing crazy stuff, and it's just like, hold my beer, I can top that. Like, dude, what are you doing?
We do live in a world where it's like that, or they might feel like, oh, that won't happen to me. I'm gonna do it anyways. Like, and then they see.
And there's so much cameras everywhere too. And the good thing about it is there were other fans that pointed out who did it too, which was great. But yeah, in baseball, we'll talk. Y'all told them on a couple minutes during the interview, but in baseball, fans do throw the ball back on the field, and players, they play along with it, especially knowing that they just made a great play. Like, usually when a home run happens, like, you're on the road, they'll throw it back on the field, and players will be like, we'll find it hilarious because, it's just part of the game, but not when you throw it at them and it hits them. Like, okay, now you're just being a force right now.
Yeah, there's no reason why anybody should be playing their sport, especially professionally, and feel they should have to look over their shoulder at any given moment for anything,
right?
Other than defender or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just not something it wouldn't cross my mind. I'm sure that's why he was pissed, because he's like, what? Like, how dare you? Then, like, you wouldn't do it in my face, and it's like, I wouldn't even do that to you.
Yeah, plus, and it was raining too, and it's just like, it was raining out there, and it's just like, yo, is this necessary? We're already out here in the rain playing this damn game, and you out here doing this. Like, what?
Well, he paid to get banned. He'd be all right.
Yeah, he's going to feel stupid when he's like, Imagine if the Yankees ever go to the World Series again. He gonna feel stupid.
Which I'm sure in our lifetime will happen. Let's
Maybe
just
not.
be real.
I want this streak to keep going. They're on like, what are we in 2020? They're on 12 years right now, so and it looks like it's going on 13. I just to say that Yankees suck.
Touche.
Let's go to a +1 interview with sports columnist from the Boston Herald, Jason Mastrodonato. We talked about the Red Sox midseason update and possible moves for the trade deadline. So check this out. Hello and welcome to another edition of the +1 interview. And we have a returning guest. Mr. Jason Mastrodonato is here, and we are here to talk some Red Sox, talk a little crazy fans, and just to get everybody up to date with what's going on with the whole team. First, that nonsense that happened in New York on Saturday. I wasn't watching the game, but when I saw the TV, I just saw him angry, and there was a lot of cursing coming from his mouth, and I'm just like, what in the world happened? I didn't know what happened, and then I read and saw what happened. I was like, oh, okay, that's good enough reason to be cursing at someone.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember like as a kid watching games at like Wrigley Field or something, you would see, it was common, like throw it back. Everyone remembers Rookie of the Year, the movie, when the kid, they're all screaming, they get the ball in the stands and they're all screaming, throw it back. And they throw the ball back in the field and everybody cheers. And it was like, it used to be this thing where it was like, you throw the ball back on the field and it's like a protest. But to throw it at somebody, to like actually hit the guy, it's like, I don't know if he meant to do that or not, but just so ridiculous and awful. And like, you're just ruining it. I'm sure it was like a guy who probably drank too much acting in the moment, not to excuse it because it's awful. But now he's ruining it for like kids who are, no longer going to get balls because players are getting mad, and just really frustrating incident.
And normally players they play into that when fans want to throw it back onto the field after they hit a home run or something. Usually the players play along with it, but to that extent, the way that happened, it was really ridiculous. And we're just seeing players are tired of fans just not acting according in these stadiums.
Yeah. And it's not just baseball, right? I mean, it's a huge incident with Kyrie and Boston and fans just wanting to get themselves involved more than they should be. And I wonder if that's got anything to do with social media, where they're used to, hey, I could troll my favorite players on social media. Now I'm going to go troll them in real life and yell at them. And I think we all just got to take a step back.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about this team. First place in the AL East. They're like tied with a few teams for the second best record in the league right now. And I think, who is it? I was talking to somebody. I said if Shohei Ohtani wasn't having the season that he's having, we probably would be considering, I think it was Rafael Devers for MVP possibly with the season he's having.
Yeah, I wouldn't make the argument for Xander Bogaerts, but Rafael Devers definitely, because I think he's 1 or 2 in the league in RBIs with 72. Vlad Guerrero Jr. certainly would probably be in the conversation. But Devers is having a great season. Bogaerts, you're a little bit worried after Bogaerts hurt his wrist over the weekend. That's a little scary because what happened in 2017 when he hurt his wrist and played through it and was really quite awful in the second half of that season. So they think Bogaerts is going to be okay, but that's kind of a scare with the wrist injury with him. But I mean, you look at the lineup, it's basically been Bogaerts, Devers, JD Martinez just carrying this team. And every now and then they'll get some production. They'll get a big hit out of Christian Arroyo or a big hit out of Vasquez, or Hunter Renfroe's had some big hits, but it's really been 3 players carrying this team. And especially since Alex Verdugo's hamstring's been bothering him, he's been a subpar player over the last 2 months. And it's like, kind of 3 guys have to do it all.
Yeah. And one of the concerns with this team, I think they had a pitching wise, I think last month they didn't have their best pitching of the month. They're giving up a lot of runs.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit. Yeah.
They struggled, but they've still been managing to win games despite of the inconsistency with the pitching. Now, moving forward as playoff looms around, that's something that needs to actually be shored up, especially in the postseason.
Yeah, June was a rough month for their pitchers. I think all their numbers kind of skyrocketed, and it just got worse. I mean, April they pitched amazing. They had a 3.59 ERA in April, 4.46 ERA in May. June, their ERA was only 4.29, but it was like all the other numbers went up. The batting average, OPS against, a lot more walks, and you could just kind of see it in the starting rotation. They started looking tired. And then we had the, no sticky stuff movement, and baseball bans the foreign substances. And all of a sudden Garrett Richards isn't very good. Yeah. Nick Pivetta struggled a little bit. Some relievers have struggled. So it's going to be, an interesting trade deadline to see if they go out and get some pitching or if they have confidence in the guys they have.
Is there anyone in particular that you think they should try to give a shot at or take a look at as far as the trade deadline comes around?
The top guys on the market for starting pitching is probably going to be Max Scherzer, Kyle Gibson, and Jose Barrios from the Twins. I don't know if the Red Sox are going to make a run at any of those guys. They don't strike me as the kind of team who's going to just start giving up prospects for a rental starting pitcher. I could see them more going after relievers, someone like Daniel Bard, who used to be on the Red Sox, who's now closing games for the Rockies, or kind of a middle reliever type of guy to give them some extra leverage behind, like in the 5th or 6th inning, where they have Josh Taylor, Ottavino, and Matt Barnes in the 6th or in the 7th, 8th, and 9th right now. They could use one more guy. So I think they'll probably go after like a middle/late end reliever.
Yeah, with looking at the team, especially the way they play defense on the back end and the outfield, and how they've been able to get so many guys out who've hit long ones, but they've been able to make throws to get them out. I think if they get a couple pitches here and there for the postseason run, they have a really good shot at making that postseason run, because they have the bats, but they have the defense. Just the pitching is just what everyone's raising their eyebrows at. If they can shore that up, they could be one of the teams to look at in the postseason.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I'd still probably rank the Houston Astros and the Chicago White Sox ahead of them, because they have more pitching, and the Astros kind of ran it up against them in the few games they've played. I think they went 5-1 against the Red Sox in the 6 games this year. And the White Sox look pretty dangerous too. After that, I'd say the Red Sox are probably the 3rd best team, if not the 4th best team behind the Rays. And I think so much depends on Chris Sale coming back and what he looks like. I think they're putting a lot in the Chris Sale basket and just hoping that this guy can be what he used to be. And maybe it's a little dangerous to do that, because you got a guy coming off Tommy John surgery who hit some bumps in the road in his recovery. It hasn't been a smooth recovery. It's been almost 16 months now. And, you kind of just want him to ease into the rotation slowly and not say, go save our team. But I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Chris Sale coming back and to be the pitcher he used to be.
And also coming back from Tommy John surgery, it takes a little while for you to get in your rhythm, and you just can't go back out there, because he won't be able to go 6 to 7 innings. So that's
exactly,
you put him out there as like, are you helping or are you hampering the team?
I can't see a world in which he hampers them. You never know. It's certainly possible.
Yeah, definitely. Can you talk a little bit about the draft pick they got? They got the number one. It was the number one high school prospect coming out. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah. So Marcelo Myers, 18-year-old kid they picked out. He went to high school in San Diego, actually the same high school that Adrian Gonzalez went to. Big kid, 6'3", 190 pounds, plays shortstop. They think he's going to stay at shortstop. I don't know about that. I'm not a scout, but just watching him, doesn't seem to me like he's going to be the kind of guy who, as his body develops and he gets more muscle, because he's never lifted weights before. Yep. So that's the whole thing with him, is he's like a strong kid based on just playing baseball. Yeah. As he gets bigger and they get him in a conditioning program, he might end up being too big to play shortstop. I mean, we see some shortstops now are pretty big. Xander Bogaerts, big shortstop. Corey Seager, this kid Meyer gets compared to, is a pretty big shortstop. But I wouldn't be surprised if he moves around the diamond, ends up at 2nd or 3rd or even 1st. But he can hit, and that's why they drafted him. I mean, he just looks natural out there with a bat. Like you said, the number 1 ranked high school prospect. I think he was the number 1 ranked prospect overall, and he fell to 4th in the draft. So pretty unique opportunity for them to get an elite talent, and that's what they're hoping they got.
They're definitely a little backpedal with the series that just finished with the Yankees. First game was postponed due to a positive COVID test within the Yankees organization. And I just find it still interesting that they were able to play the next game. There was positive tests with the Yankees and they still played 3 more games. I don't know how that works, but what went wrong in this little series right here? Because they've been dominating the Yankees all year each time they play them.
Yeah. I guess they try to isolate whoever was in contact, and they think, only these 3 guys were in close contact, and they test everybody, and they decide, okay, only 6 guys can't play and the rest of them are fine. Is it a perfect science? I'm sure it's not. And I'm shocked that there hasn't been any positive tests elsewhere from either the Red Sox or other guys who are around the Aaron Judge in the All-Star game. But the Red Sox just didn't look great coming out of the break here. They had a good game on Friday night. Then they go up against Garrett Cole on Saturday, and Garrett Cole's a great pitcher, and it's kind of a weird game with the rain, and they can't touch Cole and lose. Yeah. And then Sunday, they look slow. They just look like they don't have energy. I don't know what's going on right now, but it looks like something's going on with this offense where it's just slowing down a little bit. And even Alex Cora said that over the last couple of weeks, that the offense has just slowed down. And I think a lot has to do with Verdugo not looking healthy and hitting second and just not getting on base. They haven't found a leadoff hitter who can do much. And they're just looking a little slow right now.
And you wouldn't say it's a case of like post All-Star game jitters or anything, or post All-Star game rust?
I don't know about that, because they were also looking slow before the All-Star game. It may be just mid-season. Guys are getting tired. Guys are a little banged up type of deal.
Those dog days of summer it seems like it's catching up to them.
Yep.
All right. And now for the second half of the season, what are your hopes for the second half of the season? What are some areas that you would like to see them improve in, or in some areas that you love them to continue doing well in?
Yeah. I think they've done a great job at just winning close games, right? I mean, that's kind of the MO of this team is they're not really dominant in any one area of the game, but their offense is good enough. They can always come back. They just have kind of like the resilience factor of even when they're down, they come back and win. They have the most come from behind wins in baseball. They win most of their extra inning games. They win a lot of their 1-run games. They win close games. And that's the sign of a good team. Where could they improve? Everywhere, probably. Really, they can improve at first base. It's been a kind of a black hole for them. They rank 30th out of 30 in production from first base. And Bobby Dahlbeck's been really disappointing in his rookie year. Christian Arroyo just moved to first base and he got hurt the first game he played there. So, it's been a mess at first base, and I would look for them to maybe go out and get a first baseman before the trade deadline.
All right, definitely. All right. Time goes by so quickly. That is our time. Jason, if they want to read your stuff, please let them know where to go. Also plug in your social media pages.
Thanks. Yeah. So you could read my stuff at in the Boston Herald, or you can follow me on Twitter, jmasterdonato. I also just started a podcast called the Locked On Red Sox. So check it out.
Yeah, that can be found on Apple Podcasts and anywhere you could get your podcasts.
Yeah, Apple or Spotify, anywhere.
All right, awesome. All right, Jason, thank you once again for coming on, giving us an update on the Red Sox. Hopefully we don't get no more fans throwing stuff on the field as the season continues. But you guys have been watching the Plus One interview. Have a great one. And we are back. Okay. All right, we got some other segments for y'all. All right, so told y'all last week that we were doing a piece with Jalen Echeverria since he partnered with iSlide USA. So, yeah, check this piece out that we did with Jalen, him, and Steven Basden. So, check this out.
It's a blessing. I mean, as soon as the deal came out about NCAA players can get paid, Basden hit me up the same day.
For us, there's not much new to it. It's more the opportunity to work with some of these kids who are younger, and they have a lot of reach, they have a lot of likeness, they have a lot of things that they can leverage that they've earned. For iSlide, just as a brand, we've always done custom, we've always done partnerships, we've always done collabs, and we've always kind of kept our, I guess you'd say, like eye on the culture, on the pulse. So that involved a lot of high school and college kids.
It's definitely crazy, just seeing everyone above me that came from Lynn and then seeing where they went. It's definitely crazy being the first Lynn player and the first D3 player to sign a deal.
I thought he was a perfect fit for the brand, from like I said, skill on the court, but also to dedication off the court, and then who he is as a person. I mean, it's a royalty deal, so the sky's the limit. There is no ceiling, there is no stopping how much he can make or how many designs he can create. So there's a lot of future in this as well.
So when I went up there, we created a slide. Well, I created a slide, my own personal slide. And then I created socks also. Those will be dropping soon. Those haven't dropped yet. But the slides have dropped and they are on the website. It's definitely a lesson to the younger kids just to follow your dreams no matter what, no matter if you're failing. Just know it's gonna get better always. Every day work hard, work to your hardest. Just know that it's gonna get better no matter what, as long as you put your heart and head to it.
Easy enough. There you go. Welcome to the family, kid. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Absolutely. Iron. That's a long time.
All right, and we are back. Just want to thank Jalen and Steven for that. The first D3 player. It's like he was the first D3 player to sign one of them endorsements deals.
Shout out to them and my IndyCar brethren.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too. We were supposed to go to IndyCar too to film some of this stuff, but I don't know what happened.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's dope.
I don't know what happened. Y'all doing y'all alumni game this year?
I don't know, man. I don't talk to them. They got to reach out to me via email or like group text. Like, we don't. I talked to James. Yeah. So he might let me know, but no, I don't.
I lost my train of thought again. All right. Last Friday at the YMCA, Enes Kanter, Kanter's been doing these free nationwide basketball clinics for a while now. I think he's because he was on the East Coast this last week. He started off, I think, Maine, New Hampshire, worked his way over here. I sat down for him for a couple minutes after his clinic at the YMCA. He talked about that, and he talked about his time with the Celtics. Gave me a few minutes of his time. Check that out. Enes Kanter, you just had the free clinic here. Talk to me about this, doing these free clinics. You've been doing this for a while, man.
You know, this is my, I forgot the count. I think it's around like 20 so far. You know, we started in West, coming to the East. I think it's really important to just give back to the community, not just the city you play for, but like all over America. And America gave me so much, you know, so that's why my thing is, instead of just taking a vacation or going to a beach or play video games all day, I'm just coming here doing a free basketball clinics for all kind of ages, you know, and it's been amazing, man. It's pretty cool.
And coming back to Boston, is this your first time in Lynn?
I think second time, I believe.
Yeah, just talk about this area, you know, the North Shore, Boston area, what it meant for you, especially the time that you were here playing here.
You know, Boston, not just Boston, but whole Massachusetts from day one. You know, they gave me a warm welcome, opened their arm. I mean, signing here was one of my, you know, best, I will say, decision in my career, because coming here, playing with some amazing players, amazing organization, amazing fan base, it was definitely a blessing. But like I said again, from day one, they opened their arm, gave me a warm welcome. So it was definitely I feel blessed.
Yeah. And you're I don't know if there's so many players now doing these free camps for these kids in certain communities. Talk about the NBA in whole and how they're helping move in the game and how they're doing these camps for kids who may not be able to afford to go to those other camps that are pricey.
You know, it's important, especially I'll encourage all these NBA players out there to do these basketball camps free, because the important thing is just these kids are going to be our future one day. These kids are going to be our basketball players, football players, athletes, you know, singers, rappers, maybe lawyers, doctors, and maybe president one day. It's important to just come in here and have time with these kids, have fun with them, at the same time talk about how important education is, how important to, you know, staying healthy is, or how important to respecting others or respecting parents is. So I think, you know, it's definitely important to just come in here, just giving back, and at the same time trying to inspire them as much as you can, because if you want to have a better and brighter future, we need to educate these kids.
All right, Enes, thank you, man, for doing this. I know you got to go, but I really appreciate this. You have a good one. All right, just want to thank Cantor for that. That was a dope clinic that he put on for them kids. There was a lot of stuff happening at that clinic, so those kids were really happy, and that's just a cool experience for them to get to see a professional player in their presence, especially in Lynn. So,
and it was free, man. Shout out to him, just giving kids opportunity to see him touch him for free. Just because like a lot of people on charge kids arm in the leg, and some kids will miss out.
Yeah.
And hey, Mr. Cantor, she's shooting a shot at you, brother. Hey now. He'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right, we got highlights. Stop the violence. Summer League highlights. Check this out. All right, and we are back. This one, Kevin came out there.
Yeah, I see it. I see it, Kev.
Kevin came out there just launching that thing. The man was so focused too.
I mean, I heard he didn't have the best showing in his first game. Heard they wasn't giving him the rock like that, so he had to
the first. The week before. The week before.
They was icing him out.
And his boss was there too.
Okay.
The chief of police was there too.
Oh, they came to see if he had some game.
Yeah.
I'm sure kept me talking crazy.
Yeah.
Like he all American there at the station.
Yeah. He was trying to make sure. He was like, he don't want to embarrass us. Oh man. Last games of the season for that league is Friday, so hopefully if they win, if Lynn Police Association win, they can make the playoffs.
That's dope, man. Shout out to that league for giving kids a place to play for a couple hours, man, on Friday night.
Definitely. All right, Lights Out Summer League. This is the last week. Last games are tomorrow on Thursday, but Monday some teams wrapped up their seasons. There was some strong performances. Kid from Bishop Fenwick had 36.
Yeah, I seen that.
Another kid from Cathedral, he dropped 30. Pretty nice. These kids got talent, so it's fun to see. I just like to see, the coaches be in the stands, and they could never get out of coach mode. That is so hilarious because they just out there losing their minds, and they know they can't be coached, but they just out there losing their minds. I was like, yeah, that's what y'all get for being coaches. Check these highlights out. All right. All right, and we are back. High school basketball throwback. This one back. This one was from 2007. Everett at Lynn Costco. I think this game went down to the wire too. Check the highlights out, and we're gonna come back with more highlights for y'all and give y'all some around the sports world stuff. Back. All right, last highlight for you all. This is Lynn English Revere football highlights from 2005. All right, and we are back. We are going to go around the world of sports really quickly. Low League Baseball, the Lynn Babe Ruth, they were in the state title game. On Sunday, they fell. They lost. They lost to, I forget who they lost to, but they lost in the state final game. But it was a good run for that Lynn Babe Ruth team. I think this was the 13 on the team.
Now, question, if they win that game, do they go on to like the regional, and then do they go to be on ESPN?
I believe
or
so.
Or like, is it? All right.
I believe that's how it goes. I haven't paid attention to.
I wasn't sure if it was like mass played like New York on TV, or was it like just like the Northeast play the Midwest, and and then China come down. And
like Little League World Series.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like they did it by state or by region.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but.
Kudos to them kids for making it, man. Like, if you winning, man. Regardless you losing a championship game or winning, you at least made the championship.
Definitely. All right, the San Francisco 49ers and Fred Warner, they have agreed on a contract that will make him the highest paid linebacker, 5-year, $95 million, which includes $40.5 million guaranteed, and he's going to be averaging $19 million per year. Kudos to them.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, these guys, I always like seeing these dudes get paid, and hopefully the 49ers can stay healthy, because that was one of their biggest issues last year was health. Everybody was hurt. The Richard Sherman thing. Did you see the video?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's saying not guilty and all that, but you remember that movie Fear? Bob Wahlberg, let me in the house.
Yeah.
That's what kind of bothered me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was so out of character for him. Like that, it was just like, man, you really must be going through some things.
He might have just lost. Remember I said he might have just lost his mind that one time in life because you never heard about him getting into anything or really getting into issues only on the field. So it's like for him to just lose it. But once again, we got to look into mental health and we got to look into the concussion thing. Like we don't know what happens under those helmets,
and
man.
We don't know what is also happening in his actual life too.
That too.
Like,
I'm not saying he's crazy. I'm just saying we don't know. Like we're always telling people that get hit. We don't. What about the guys that give the hits too as well? You know what I mean? Like we don't really know what happens.
And it's probably just all a combination of certain things. You got all this. He must have some stuff happening to him personally that's bothering him, and then he's got to deal with some other stuff, and it's just like a kettle peg. Like
it's exploded, man.
But yeah, his wife. Kudos to his wife too, because she was trying to protect him too. She was that call she had with the 911 operator. It was that 911 operator was just like, you shouldn't be a 911 operator. Somebody's calling you for an emergency and you giving them an attitude.
And that's the problem with people in those positions. You got a woman who should be able to call 911 at least to get him calmed down or make sure he's safe. But then it's like we live in a world where you're scared to call 911 for one. The operator's a moron, and two, you don't know what police officer's coming down there to even try to de-escalate it. He might escalate, and you see how this world's going. Yeah. So we got to just do better as people, man. Just do better as people. Yeah, and screen people better for these jobs, man.
Yeah, especially for a 911 operator.
You dealing with people in distress, and you got people thinking they got the right to get somebody under distress and attitude. Like, shut up, eat your feelings, and deal with this lady who's losing her mind right now. Like,
right? Like
that's crazy. Like, the entitlement thing in this world is crazy to me. Like,
and the thing is, you could be you're giving her all this attitude. What if something actually seriously happened to him whilst he's trying to get someone to come and help resolve the situation? You give him an attitude, and then something crazy happens. Like,
and that's why you can't have people in those positions that can't think outside themselves. They get so offended by how they're getting spoken to, not realizing the person's under high distress.
Yeah,
like,
right.
People stupid.
Yeah. Last night's Red Sox Blue Jays game was postponed. The Red Sox did win the night before, 13-14. I don't know why it was postponed. Let me see if I can find out why.
Weather issues?
Maybe. Whatever, I don't know. Who cares?
All right.
There was supposed to be a fight this weekend, boxing match this weekend, I believe, with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Why do I always forget his name? But I don't know if that fight is happening at all because, once again, that health and safety protocol stuff and, whatever. Update. It's been rebooked to October 9th. So,
okay.
In Las Vegas. But does Fury have a fight scheduled for Joshua next month?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. They might just push everything back because it just makes no sense if he loses to Joshua and loses the belt, him fighting Wilder, or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't the whole purpose of him fighting Wilder was to get the belt back?
I think that's what I would assume after he's beat me in the ring and I said I had on 30 pounds extra weight on me and I walked in the ring and my legs was tired. I don't want to get my rematch.
All right, let's go to top 10 and we're going to come back and wrap this up.
Right, it was 30 pounds.
are back. We are back. All right. We're coming to an end here. This guy over here with his so he's working on his stand-up routine.
Closing time.
Oh man. Make sure to check us out. Lynn Community Television Facebook page. Make sure linntv.org is the website. LCTV After the Whistle Instagram. Mr. Burton 23 on Instagram. Mukala K on Instagram. Also, we want to give a big shout out to my dog, my brother Kevin. He just had a baby boy on Sunday.
Oh, congrats,
Little boy finally decided to stop being stubborn and hopped out Sunday morning. So, just like his daddy, already coming out stubborn. I saw that. I don't.
I got stuck.
Also, happy birthday to my cousin. Today's her birthday. I'm not going to say her age, but happy birthday to her.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, cousin.
Happy birthday. Any other shout-outs before we get up out of here?
Nah, man, just eat well, exercise, sweat as much as you can, man. Just live.
Definitely. Also, check out the Lynn Parks and Recreation Summer Leagues. If you get the chance to get the opportunity, go show them kids some support. Lynn English Football, July 31st, they're having a camp. Free clinic. So if you want to sponsor a player or sponsor somebody to go to attend it, contact Coach Mack or contact someone from the Lynn English coaching staff. Make sure you go support them. Tomorrow, Thursday, Lights Out Gym Summer League at St. Mary's. This is the last slate of games. Next week of playoffs. The first games begin at 5:15. Last games 8:55. Undefeated St. Mary's, undefeated Malden Catholic. That should be a good one. If you ain't got nothing to do, go check it out. And on that note, we are out of here. Have a good one, people.